Lesmerises and Stephen Means after Ohio State's 36-34 win over Nebraska. Here's the stats, Stephen. Jk-dobbins, 23 carries, 163 yards, 3 touchdowns. Mike Weber, 9 carries, 91 yards, no touchdowns. Weber had a higher yards per carry average. He was 10.1. Dobbins was 7.1. Urban-meyer said after the game that Weber, who fumbled twice, some of that factored into Jk-dobbins getting a bigger workload. They've basically been sharing series, alternating series, sharing the load this year. As this team gets ready for Michigan State, Maryland, Michigan to end the year, what should they do? Is an equal split? Does that still make sense, or should they start leaning away?
I think you lean away from that. First quarter, I understand an equal split, but especially in the second half, you got to ride the hot hand at that point. And they sort of did that at the end of the game where they just kind of went with Dobbins because Weber was fumbling, but that can't always just be the reason. I think at some point, you see one is hot, you got to ride him, and you got to ride him, you got to ride him. I think, yes, you got 2 talented backs. At the end of the day, only one of them can have the ball, so you got to go with the hot hand.
I thought early on they scored their first touchdown when Jk-dobbins ran for 16 yards, got him first and goal at the 10, and ran it in from 10 yards out right away. So Dobbins, end of the first quarter, goes 16, goes 10. The next time they're on the field, Mike Weber's in the game. And I just thought, Jk-dobbins was at 4.3 yards per carry coming into this game. He just has not been able to get going at all this season. And finally, he gets going, and he's out of the game. That's what you're talking about, right?
Exactly. You ride the hot hand. Mike Weber started off kind of slow, and he picked it up in the third quarter. But at that point, Dobbins had already established himself. I think he had about 10 carries for 57 yards in the first half. And in the second half, he just continued and continued and continued. So, yeah, you ride that hot hand, and you did that down the stretch, and it got you a win.
Tony Alford, the running backs coach, is the guy who ultimately makes the decision on that. These position coaches, they basically decide who's going to play in the game. Urban-meyer does not micromanage that. The thing that will get them, though, is putting the ball on the ground. So that is what's stuck in Urban-meyer's craw. I will be very curious to see if that has a lingering effect for next week. But I will tell you that my guess is that they go back to rotating next week. And I just don't know if they're going to do anything to get away from that. But I think, bottom line, who makes them a better team right now? Is it close in your mind, or do you think they're a better team when one of the two is on the field?
I think it's week to week. I think it just kind of depends on who gets going. Yeah, I agree with you. I think they're going to start off rotating, go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But by the fourth quarter, if it's a close game, if one is hot, I will not be surprised that Urban-meyer just rides that one.
Man, you like it when it's hot, man. You like to get hot.
Yeah, man. I don't like cold weather.
Sorry, November's coming. All right, he's Stephen. I'm Doug. We'll see you guys later this week at cleveland.com.